So Karoline Leavitt might be the worst White House press secretary in my lifetime. And it's not really her fault. Well, actually it is, because she accepted the job, but she has the daunting task of trying to defend the most prolific liar in our nation's history. There were several nonpartisan groups that counted exactly how many lies Donald Trump told in his first term, and it was something like over 30,000. So I have a clip here that I want to show, but I first want to say the bar isn't that high for these press secretaries, right? Trump in his first term, and certainly George W., had some real liars, some real shameless lizards who were acting as their press secretaries. Karoline, though, is clearly burning out quicker than most in her position do. Each day that passes, she gets angrier, lies more shamelessly, and I wish I could say she's acting out like this because she's getting sick of having to defend Trump's lies all day long, but I think it's worse than that. Not only is she bad at her job, like rarely ever answers the question when someone pushes back against the administration, she'll attack the reporter in a very Trumpian way and then move on to the next person's question without answering the question in the first place. Like I said, I think she's burning out quickly. Like most press secretaries last a year, maybe 2 years at most. You can tell she's having a more difficult time responding to criticism without lashing out and being unprofessional and childish in her responses. At the end of the day, her job is to defend and lie, right? So in my opinion, she's inside of the event horizon that is the black hole of the MAGA cult. Here's the clip that I want to show you guys. I think it's really quite damning, and I think you need to watch this. So let's check it out.
Karoline, yesterday the administration appears to have started dismantling the Consumer Product Safety Commission. This is the federal agency, an independent one that does recalls and is responsible for product safety. Does the administration not believe that it's important, to keep toys and cribs? I mean, you're a young mom, off of the market.
Before Karoline responds, I want to give some context to the reporter's question. So as the reporter alluded to, Trump is dismantling the watchdog agency, which is the Consumer Product Safety Commission, and he just fired several of the commissioners on that watchdog agency. And what the Consumer Product Safety Commission does, it's really simple. They protect the public from unreasonable risks of serious injury from consumer products. So they set safety standards, they investigate hazards, they set regulations and all of that on all kinds of products that we have, especially products that pose a fire, electrical, chemical, or mechanical hazard, or can injure children specifically. Trump is dismantling that agency without a backup plan in store. So I'll get to that in a second. He is trying to move this position to the Department of Health and Human Services, which is a huge problem, by the way. I'll get to that in a sec, but let's listen to Karoline's answer here.
Off of the market.
It's a federal agency within which branch? It's the executive branch. Who's the head of the executive branch? The President of the United States.
Created by Congress.
He has the right to fire people within the executive branch. It's a pretty simple answer. Francesca.
So not only was Karoline condescending as fuck, she also didn't answer the question. The reporter asked a very simple question. By dismantling this agency, does this administration not care about the safety standards and making sure that the products that our people consume and use are safe? And Karoline's response was, the president has the right to fire them. To me, her response sounded like, what branch of government is it in? That's right, the executive branch. Oh, and who leads the executive branch? That's right, the president. Boom, owned ya. The way she responds to people oftentimes sounds like a 15-year-old on Twitter. And my whole point here is that she's been doing this more and more, and she's becoming more unprofessional, more unhinged, and answering less questions. Like, she completely didn't respond to that question, and she looked to another reporter and she's like, I'll take the next question. My conclusion is that she's becoming more burnt out every single day. It's tiring lying to people, having to defend every single thing that this administration has done, and they've done a lot. Trump has signed hundreds of executive orders. He's only signed, I believe, 5 bills into law. Think about that. Only 5 bills he has signed into law in 3 months. And I think that's a record low. He's done a lot with executive orders. As you guys know, much of it has been controversial. I want to watch the clip again because I want to see exactly the moment when Karoline decides to not answer the question. You know, she's listening to the reporter's question, and I wonder if you can see it in her face the moment she realizes she's not going to answer the question. She's just going to spew some bullshit.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission. This is the federal agency, an independent one that does recalls and is responsible for product safety. Does the administration not believe that it's important, to keep toys?
It was right there when Karoline started to open her mouth to cut her off, but she stopped. That was the moment when she realized that she is not going to answer this question. She knows that she can't. She can't answer it honestly, because it's true. This administration doesn't really care about regulation. It's all about deregulation. That's what makes profit for the corporations, for the billionaires that funded Trump's campaign.
Off of the product of the market.
It's a federal agency within which branch? It's the executive branch. Who's the head of the executive branch? The President of the United States.
Created by Congress.
He has the right to fire people within the executive
Boom,
branch.
mic drop.
Pretty simple answer. Francesca.
Pretty simple answer. I wish I had something nicer to say here. I really do. And I don't want this channel to become just all negativity, but it's really disturbing that the White House press secretary is not answering basic questions when a reporter pushes back on the Trump administration's actions. Like whenever someone's glazing Trump and was like, how did his balls get so big? She'll respond in a thorough, well thought out, well crafted response. When a reporter asks her, how do you respond to Democrats in Congress who have Trump derangement syndrome when they're calling the president a fascist? Karoline will again have a well thought out, she'll be straight to the point, she'll say exactly what she needs to say. But when someone, God forbid, pushes back against Trump, she either flat out lies about what's happening. Like, for example, when Trump was tweeting out that the US was spending $50 million on condoms to Gaza, then that lie graduated to the US is spending $100 million on condoms to Hamas. When reporters were asking her about this, she just flat out lied. She was like, yep, Doge found $100 million going to condoms for Hamas. And she's just a shameless liar. And I'm not saying that other press secretaries haven't lied. Every press secretary for every administration has lied before, right? Like their job is to defend the administration to the best of their abilities. Leavitt has the daunting task of defending and lying for the greatest con man and the most prolific liar in our nation's history. And for that, I kind of feel bad for her.